You're listening to Top 4, a new series presented by the Game Pitch Podcast.
Join hosts Brandon and Eli as they build gaming Mount Rushmores every week.
Enjoy topics that range from the best multiplayer types to the top bug Pokemon.
Catch fresh episodes of Top 4 every Wednesday on the Project Nerd Network.
And don't miss new episodes of the Game Pitch Podcast, dropping every Monday morning.
Let's get ready to rank. Hello and welcome to the Top 4 or More podcast, presented by Game Pitch on the Project Nerd Network. I'm Elijah. I'm joined as always by the beautiful Brandon. Brandon, hello.
Hi. I was thinking that you were going to ask me how I was doing, and I was going to say on a scale from 1 to 4, because we are in fact the top 4 and more. Not, I'm not dealing with the 1 through 10 scale, but on a scale from 1 to 4, I'm at like a 1.8 right now.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, because 1 is better on our thing, not 4.
Oh, I was thinking, no, like bad.
Oh, you're thinking the reverse. Oh, God,
Yeah.
You're not doing good. Okay, well, I hope we can improve that over these next, 20 to 30 minutes here. If you're unfamiliar with the show, what happens is we rank video game things every week. Either Brandon or I choose a topic, and we dive deep into that topic, revealing our top 4, our number 3, our number 2, our number 1, going back and forth, revealing those picks. And it's always a surprise to each other, which I think is a fun little wrinkle that we have fun with. So, Brandon, you have the topic this week. You want to tell us what it is and explain why?
This is why I'm not doing so hot right now, Elijah.
Oh, no.
It's because I don't think I'm very good at Donkey Kong. So, hear me out, right?
Okay, please. Yeah, this is great. I love where your head's at.
So I was playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And before I played this game, people were like, this is like the best 2D platformer of the year, of the decade, people love this game. So I went in expecting my mind to be blown. But because of the way that I played Donkey Kong, I just did not have that same feeling. I think I've gotten into a habit of kind of ruining games for myself. I go in and I feel like I need to collect everything, and
I see.
Sometimes that can come at the cost of like my enjoyment of the game. And Donkey Kong Country Choco Freeze was one of those examples. I was playing, and if I missed anything, I would immediately jump off the nearest edge and restart at the previous checkpoint to go back and get it. And it just really broke up the pacing of the game. Yeah, I realized I was doing it about halfway through, and I kind of had to stop myself, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go through, and whatever I get, but I'm not gonna keep putting myself through the ringer to get absolutely everything. And I started enjoying the game after that a lot more. But Elijah, we're talking about top 4 in-game video game collectibles. That's why we're talking about this topic.
I see. You're punishing yourself, and you're trying to work through your pain this week. This is almost like a therapy session for you to re-love collectibles again.
Yeah, definitely.
As always, we're gonna start with our honorable mentions. What do you got, man?
So my only honorable mention is trophies from PlayStation Network.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel that.
They're not in-game, so I didn't want to include them on my list. But I really think the trophy system is really cool. I wish Nintendo would implement like some sort of trophy or achievement system. But I think of the two, trophies versus achievements, PlayStation versus Xbox, I prefer the trophy system.
Okay, yeah, because there are those different, the silver, the bronze, the gold, and then of course the platinum. I think because the achievements came first, that it was the egg, not the chicken, or whatever that needs to be. That I'll
Sure.
always like achievements more, and it does mean something to me to have a perfect 1,000 achievement score in a game. I do appreciate it means more to me than a platinum.
Interesting. Okay, so for me, it's the opposite. Seeing the platinum scratches that itch for me, as opposed to the perfect 1,000 out of 1,000.
Yeah. But I know, because you can kind of measure the harder ones you got by seeing the number of golds versus the number of platinums. I totally understand that, and how that could be more satisfying, how they break it up. I think for me, it's just because it was first, and it was the thing that I knew about first, and it existed first, that it's just cooler to me.
Interesting. Cool. I respect that. Elijah, I want to hear about your honorable mentions.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and start with, first off, not the crows in Grand Theft Auto 4, because I had to help our friend, one of our friends, find all the crows in that game by like marking them off in the strategy guide as they like peeled around New York City trying to find, or not the crows, the pigeons. They're shooting the pigeons in Grand Theft Auto 4 to like, because you could blow them up and they're all collectible. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing. I don't know why it exists.
So that's a dishonorable mention for you.
Yeah, F that forever. Get out of
Okay,
here,
for sure.
pigeons. I think it was too soon to add it because I need to kind of go through again. But, and this might be on your list, but The Last of Us Part 2 cards, I think they're really interesting. But because they're so fresh, I just didn't want to throw them on my list just yet. I really do like the strawberries in Celeste. They remind me a lot of the cakes in Splosion Man. So it's essentially like these platforming levels that you can go through. They're just optional things that you can get throughout the levels that are collectibles. And it's like, oh, you got 4 out of 4 strawberries or 2 out of 5 cakes in that level. So I think that that's something, because there are harder challenges to go out of your way to get that might kill you and make you have to restart kind of in your Donkey Kong Country, setting that you were kind of talking about there. And yeah, those are my honorable mentions. I like the ship parts in Toe Jam and Earl, but those aren't really like a collectible. It's the thing you need to progress, but they're still cool. I don't know. I didn't know what to classify them as.
Sure. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I almost picked the cards from Last of Us, but as with you, I thought, it was just too soon to make that call. But as we were playing through that game, of course, I sent you that text message. I said, hey, can we do top 4 cards in Last of Us 2? Because these are great.
Yeah, because Dr. Uckman prescribes that we do that pod. So yeah,
He
we're
sure
gonna do
does.
that one. We're gonna do that one at some point. We got to do it. It's really great. So, buddy, let's go ahead and jump to your number 4 then.
Get into the nitty gritty, Elijah. I broke the rules on this one, dude.
Cool. Well, you made the topic, so you make the rules.
It's just funny because I explicitly said, like, hey, experience points don't count. That's where the 2 exceptions were: no experience points and no currency. And I did the agility orb collectibles from Crackdown. But hear me out, because so you're collecting the orbs, and then the orbs give you experience points. So that's my reasoning.
That's like your backdoor in. Yeah, I feel that's cool. I like it. They are cool. Like just the fact that there's like these like beacon orbs on top of buildings and you're just jumping around and getting better. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and I love how like the ones that provide more of a challenge are worth more. You get more experience points, and the way that they visualize that with the dots on top, I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a great way to reward exploration in an open world sandbox type game.
No, I feel you. And I think it's actually really cool that because not to say that we typically focus on like the most pristine or AAA games, but it is nice to see Crackdown in here. And some people would describe Crackdown as a AAA game. I might think it's like a AA game in some senses, but like it's just fun to see Crackdown on this list because I didn't think that it would crack in, if you know what I'm saying. I'm the worst.
Oh, that was bad. That was bad. Elijah, let's move. We gotta move forward from that one.
Okay, I think that my number 4 is going to be probably just as bad, and you might dislike it. Do you know what the gyroids are in Animal Crossing?
I sure don't.
Okay, so they look like they're living fire hydrants, and they have like faces like Koroks. So it's just like really big, long eyes, big, long mouths, and then they just like wiggle around, kind of like almost like a sex toy in a way. If you want to Google gyroids from Animal Crossing, you can see them, but they wiggle their arms all around. They're essentially sentient fire hydrants, and you can collect a lot of them in Animal Crossing, the one for the GameCube, and I love them. There's big ones, there's small ones, there's tall ones. They come in all shapes and sizes.
Oh, that's the rocket that he rides. Okay, cool.
Yes,
I know what you're talking about.
Yes. I love them more than most things in life. They're like part mushroom, part wooden sculpture, part horror show. And like if you look at the ones that you could collect in the GameCube one, like they were just all so vibrant and colorful, and they were the number one thing that I wanted to like. I wasn't concerned about getting furniture. I just wanted a tribe of scary autonomous fire hydrant men.
Okay, all right. So one of the things that I graded my collectibles on is how you're rewarded by collecting them in the game. So what's the purpose? What's the motivation behind collecting these gyroids in Animal Crossing?
Kind of like our last episode, they're just pretty, man. They're colorful.
Okay.
They're the weirdest thing in the game, and they have I want to say in Animal Crossing they feel like they were made by Miyazaki. And it's funny, in our last episode you brought up Our Neighbor Totoro, and so it's just like these were the things that were the most outlandish in the game. And Animal Crossing has all these crazy collectibles, be it the furniture, be it the actual animals that come to your village, or even the, like, you could collect original Nintendo games, like NES games that you could like actually play in Animal Crossing, like the full game that it just existed in Animal Crossing. It was just weird. But the gyroids were just, every time I found one, discovered a new one, like I had a whole room of them. So it was just like it's almost like my first pop collection. You know what I'm saying? Like these
Okay.
were my pop figures, my digital pop figures that I could collect, and I knew I could get all of them because it's a video game, so there's only a finite amount of them. It's like they were gonna make more.
Okay, so you can display them in your house.
You can, yeah, they're like sculptures. Yep.
Cool. So then I would definitely like count that as one of the reasons to collect them, because if you just like how they look, like, as a decoration, that's still like that adds in-game value. And I know like Animal Crossing's all about, building something, that you like the way that you like it. So I think that's, yeah, no, that's a super cool collectible, dude. I would collect those for sure.
They're terrifying, which is a part of the appeal.
Yeah, there's some creepy looking ones for sure. They look like they're gonna eat my soul.
Yeah, well, hopefully your number 3 doesn't eat any souls. So what do you got, bud?
The monster pop figures from Doom Eternal, for the same
Okay.
exact reason, because I love the way they look on the Doomslayer shelf.
Mm-hmm. Just the
So
display, the heads up, yeah.
yeah, yeah, so and that, the other really big reason why I chose this is because it's crazy how well a game was able to capitalize on the phenomenon that is pop figures, right? Funko Pops grew huge, like enormous. They were a phenomenon. I don't think I could meet somebody who doesn't know what one of them is. For a game to implement it the way that it did, with having models of the enemies in those type of that type of figure, was really cool.
I'm looking at a picture of him now. The Kako Demon is completely adorable. He is the cutest. Oh, the little floating skull one looks so happy. Oh no, he's cute.
Yeah, man, there's some good ones.
Okay, so you did you get a full collection? Is this one of like the things that you got the platinum on, or that you got the max gamer score?
Yep, so I did that. And these were fun to find. I really liked the platforming and like the mobility in Doom Eternal. So when the gameplay is so good that it doesn't feel like a chore for me to go out of my way and explore these different areas, I think that also kind of points to it being a, in my eyes, an objectively good collectible, right? It has to be
Mm,
fun to get to, because if I don't want to collect all of them, if I don't want to put that effort in, I just don't think it's good collectible in my opinion.
gotcha. And so I think that kind of dovetails nicely into my number 3, because the first pick that I had, the gyroids from Animal Crossing, they weren't really like, there's not an open world in Animal Crossing. Essentially, it's just your island and you kind of explore it, but it's not like, hey, you're always going to find the pink one in the South Shore. That's not the case. They just appear randomly. It's
Right.
always it's RNG. So the nice thing with your Doom Pop figures and my number 3 is that it's like there is this open world you explore and you can find them and unlock them, and they're always there. It's like when you have like those total lists, it's like you have 1 of 10, you have 2 of 5, like that. That's kind of like one of those drives, I think, as gamers, where you're just like, oh, I got to get all of these.
Right, like the level completion type thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my number 3 is in Okami, and it's kind of like you did. It's like you do get experience from these things, but they are the animals in Okami. So basically, like as Amaterasu, if you go up to a pack of horses and you feed them, they give you experience points. But then, like you've got one of the 8 horses in that area. But there's also sparrows, and there's rabbits, and there's deer, and there's tigers, and it's just like always so cool to be like, oh, I got to run around this environment and then find like a tiger that's just like laying down somewhere licking its paw, feed it some meat, and then it gives me experience points. So I always loved the idea of not only healing the world in Okami, like restoring the vegetation and the flora and just like the color to the world, but also restoring the animals and like bringing peace and harmony to their, like feeding them and bringing them in.
Sure. Man, I gotta finish Okami. I started it a while back, but it didn't immediately hook me, so I moved on to other things. But that's cool. So they're not like I mean, I kind of know the style of Okami. So they're like, are they like a horse in like a stable in a town that you come across, or
Yeah, because it's the more open world parts, but they can also just be like there's a tree and there's some bamboo, and then like a panda's just chilling there, or like a bird's just on the ground and like you can feed it seed. And so like
oh,
once you feed the animal once, then it's fed forever, and you've gotten that experience boost, and it's that one of that one. But there's like multiple sparrow, multiple like the dogs, the cats, you can feed all kinds of the animal.
for sure. No, I think I remember getting the panda now and like the bamboo stacks. Yeah, for sure. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. That's all right. Well, I like that, Elijah. That's a good pick. Is this something that did you go through and collect all of them? Is
Oh yeah, yeah. Every time I got into a new open world area, it was like avoid the fights, go feed the animals. Like, so like it was like my speed run. It was my summer games done quick. I wasn't saving the animals; I was feeding them. I was like, have
gotta
foods.
feed them animal. Gotta
Yeah,
make them
man.
friends.
Yeah, it like spending my money in the game, not on new weapons or upgrades or like expanding my pouch or whatever it was. It's just like gotta buy all the fish and meat. I gotta feed these animals.
That's incredible, dude. That's
Yeah,
great.
that's my whole goal. Just make like I also like the idea of a dog running around feeding everything. Like being like, here birds, here's seed. Like it's dumb.
So, is there anything else that you want to say about these animals that you've been feeding in Okami?
No, I like them. That's just it. They're cute. They're adorable, and I just like the art style. So give me your number two, friend.
I think you're gonna like my number two, Elijah. Power Stars from Mario 64.
That's a good pick. That's a really good pick.
Thank you. It was one of those that was like, okay, this is obviously, top two for sure when I thought about it when I was making my list. I just, it helps that it's the main goal of the game is to get these, this is what you need to get to fight Bowser and save the princess, right? So there's a lot of motivation to get as many as you can, right? I mentioned it when I was talking about Doom, but when the core gameplay is so good and collecting is part of the core gameplay, and I'm rewarded when I go and do more of the game. It's great. That's what a good collectible is.
No, no, I completely agree with you. And it's so weird because you would, I almost, I don't know if I even thought of the Power Stars necessarily as collectibles, but you're right. They are. They are the primary collectible in that game. They might be the first and like original open world collectible almost.
Yeah, in a sense, that's an interesting way to think about it. I hadn't thought of it that way before, but I see what you're saying.
Well, and I think it's also before the term open world game even existed because Mario 64 had always been referred to like a sandbox game where there's like
Yeah.
hey, you have this skill set. We've built this sandbox of different things for you to do. You can discover them in your own way. And it was just great that Mario 64 let you in most cases do like you didn't have to go out of the world and then restart it for it to be in a certain form for you to do things. It typically let you go after the ones you wanted to. Even if you loaded up a different chapter, you could still get other stars.
Right, and it really paved the way for the evolution of like open world style collectibles. I mean, you can see with the way that it evolved into Power Moons in Mario Odyssey, where you don't even have to leave the level once you collect it. You stay in the level, you keep collecting, and the variety in what they can be. What can grant them to you. They really paved the way.
So was that a part of it? Just like because it did pave the way, the nostalgia that it is like one of the original collectibles.
Definitely. Well, because I consider doing Power Moons from Odyssey as well. But yeah, this one gets it because it was, the first.
At least for you, right? Because that was one of the first games
Yeah.
that you got to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously there's like stuff in like Mega Man and like other things that was like before that. But yeah, no, I feel
Definitely.
you. Like when I think of collectibles, yeah, like the stuff in you'll like as we get through more of my list too, you'll completely understand where I'm coming from and how I echo kind of how you feel there. My number two, and I don't know, did you play Smash Bros. Melee a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. So the trophies from Smash Bros. Because they would
Okay.
randomly drop in battles and they were always so cool because it would be like a Dr. Mario trophy and it's like the pills and the viruses and it's like all this stuff that was like not really in the game, but they still rendered as a trophy to put it into the Smash Bros. Melee graphics. It just like was so satisfying. I know Brawl has the trophies too. Or wait, did Brawl switch to stickers or was that Wii U and DS one?
That was Wii U, I'm pretty
Okay,
sure.
yeah. Yeah, the trophies just really make me happy. I just remember, like, I'm sure it took a ton of development time to, like, put all the descriptions and render all these characters and put them in the game. But the trophies from Smash Bros., like, once I finally got a full set, it made me feel really good.
Cool. Okay. I have to ask, what's your favorite trophy then?
Oh man, I'd have to look through all. I'd have to like pull out my GameCube and like look through all of them to give you a definitive answer. But there's just so many of them that are just like strange and like things that you wouldn't expect to see, like the Metroids or like Samus's ship, just like little insights of things that you never got to like fully, because it's a 3D model. You could turn it whatever angle and see it from whichever way you wanted, and you could like
Right.
really. There was a trophy for Ridley, and like Ridley wasn't in the game, and we didn't know that Ridley was eventually going to be in Smash Bros. Or people would ask, but like King K. Rool, the same thing. You're like, oh, this is what this guy would look like in 3D after envisioning him in Country for so long. So there was a lot of like seeing a character in 3 dimension for the first time excitement that came from that too.
Okay, interesting. So this was, I guess, piggybacking off stuff we were talking about earlier with like the why for getting it. Just it sounds to me like this to you is just like art to appreciate, to look at, to experience. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because it's a collectible that's not just a hash mark on a total screen like we were kind of talking about before. It's a collectible that you can explore, and that's almost a part of The Last of Us too. That like these collectibles, they add to the lore, they just add like so much to the game. Because there was one that I almost put on here, but I kind of wanted to keep for maybe a separate list, the audio logs from Bioshock. I didn't
Hmm.
put those in this list because I felt like they were more storytelling than a collectible. But it's that kind of thing that when you can be told a story by the collectible, and it's something that you can miss and that not everyone finds. It's like I just think it means more because this is a part of like your personal toy set or your personal treasure chest.
Right. And it's crazy because like there are other people who could be going through the same game that you're going through, and they're not getting the same experience that you are. When a developer puts like the kind of love into world building for cards, like a comic book world for cards for a collectible, like just on the side that not even everybody's gonna be able to fully experience. It's just crazy. Bravo to collectibles like that for sure.
Yeah, well, like I guess when collectibles make you want to go back to the game, they're
Yeah,
doing their job, right? They've done what their objective was.
exactly.
Cool. Then I'm excited to hear your number one, pal.
Dog is Riddler trophies, obviously.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
Riddler trophies, it's crazy. I had a list of three. So Power Stars was number one, Monster Pop Figures was number two, Agility Orbs was number four. And I was like, what's number three going to be? What is number three going to be? And then I was like, Riddler trophies. And I put it in number three and it just felt dirty. I was like, no, 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 it's got to be number two. And I was like, no, 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 it's just going to the top. It's just going to the top.
You couldn't lie to yourself. You're just like, nope, I need this.
Yeah. Oh man. What can I say about Riddler trophies that sums up what I love about them so much? Dude, it's so obviously it may have been mentioned at least once on the show before, but like I'm just a huge Batman fan. The Arkham series is one of my favorite series of all time. And kind of like Elijah was mentioning, when a collectible makes me want to play more of the game, so spend more time in that world, that's a good collectible. It's doing its job. Riddler trophies absolutely nailed that on the head for me.
I think something that this specific one, your pick, does that makes it, I think, worthy of number one is that it takes something that exists in games. These hunts, these trophies, these collectibles like this, audio logs, all that stuff. It takes something that already exists in games and pairs it with something that wasn't in games, the Riddler, and it like just marries so well that it is one of the best like combinations of a lore, what the character was outside of a game, and then mixing it and gamifying with what a game is. Like it's like super impressive.
Yeah, definitely. That's an interesting way of putting it. It definitely, I think, is a great way to introduce that concept, like you were mentioning, just the mix of the lore and intangible ways to obtain it in a game.
Yeah, because like just him, it's like it's so Riddler that it makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It makes so much sense in the lore for sure.
Or within the context of that villain, just in general.
And I love that it evolved throughout the series because of course he wasn't physically in the first game, but once you start collecting him, he starts talking to you over the radio. The more you collect, the more of that side mission, that story of the side mission that you're getting. Once you collect all of them, he calls you and he's freaking out, throwing a tantrum, and then the police arrest him and you hear it over the radio. And that was really cool. And then in the second and third ones, installments, City and Night, it becomes like a more physical confrontation. It's just cool that you get to be rewarded with more of the game.
Yeah, it's exactly what a collectible should do, that it makes you want to play more of the game, kind of like we talked about.
Darn tootin'. Elijah, that's enough about Riddler Trophies, though. I want to hear your number one.
Super obvious as well. It's Banjo-Kazooie, the first collectathon game that I ever played. And I didn't give it to any one thing. I just put on here Jiggy's, Jinjo's, Music Notes, Mumbo Tokens.
Okay, so because we're going to be, Banjo-Kazooie is one of your favorite games of all time. If we were to do the top 4 video games of all time, Banjo would come up on your side of the discussion. But so does Banjo rank over Mario 64 for you? No, we're getting too into the weeds. I'm sorry.
It does.
This is the question that's been okay.
It does. I can unequivocally say that it does.
And that's just because it was your first?
No, I played 64 way before I played Banjo.
So Banjo just has like more charm, or?
Yeah, man, it's just way more wacky. It's like and I think I could not have loved Banjo without how much I loved 64, because 64 laid the groundwork for me to be like, oh, I'm in on mascot platformers. And then Banjo just knocked it out of the park with my specific sense of humor, my love of color and fun. And it's not that the graphics are better in Banjo, it's just the worlds are a little just different. Like they're not as polygonal. Like there's a little more artistic flair to them. There's a little more style. Not to say that 64 is by any means bad. It's just that it was the first, and then they got to iterate. Like Rare got to see behind the curtain for 64 because they're part of the Nintendo family, and they got to do something that they thought would kind of elevate the genre, and I thought that it did.
Okay, interesting. Let's dive into these collectibles. So obviously, just getting to play more of the game, I'm sure that plays a big portion into why these were ranked number one for you.
Yeah, because so the Jiggies are essentially the Power Stars. They're the same thing in the same way,
Right.
where you collect these things that let you unlock more levels, let you get further into the castle effectively, or the dungeon,
The plot,
whatever you want
right?
to. Yeah, exactly. That let you get further in that. The music notes were effectively like they made there be a finite amount of the Mario coins. So every level had 100 music notes, but once you collected them once, then they were gone for forever, and they didn't have to be collected again on subsequent jumps into that world. So I thought that was kind of a new thing that kind of iterated on what 64 did and made me like hunt for the collectibles more, or like check every corner of each world more. The Mumbo tokens are the thing that you need to transform into the different forms. Like Banjo can become a crocodile, he can become a bumblebee. Like there's all these different things that you can become, but you needed more Mumbo tokens to do that, and you couldn't transform till you got the tokens. And then the best of all of them is the Jinjos. And I don't know if you remember them, but they're like these little like tiny colorful elves, and there's 5 of them, and they're all different colors of the rainbow. But as you get near them, they're like saying help, or they just say their name. They're like Jinjo, and like so it's like this game of Marco Polo with your TV, because as you get closer to them, they get louder, or they just say help me, and you don't know where they are, and you're just like jumping around a room, like listening. Really, like it was. I remember as a kid like leaning close to the TV and trying to because we didn't have like stereo TVs like back then, so like trying to figure out, is he coming from the left or the right? I didn't have a gaming rig. Like it's a freaking tube TV game on a 64. So just being in an environment and like pivoting the camera, and it's you just hear help me, and it's like muffled, and you get closer, it's like help Jinjo, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna save you, you little colorful weird elf thing.
Yeah, no, it's cool when a collectible can like engage you in another way like that, for sure. And when a game is designed to do that, it's even cooler. I definitely thought the Jinjos were like dinosaurs, though, like pterodactyls or something.
I can see on that. They have, it's like they're like less terrifying Teletubbies is essentially what they are.
Okay.
But they're smaller as well, which goes along
Right.
with the less terrifying. Like it goes hand in hand with that.
Sure. Okay. So of these, if you had to only pick one, which one would it be? Which one was your favorite to collect?
The Jinjo, because it's like a game of Marco Polo. So anytime there's a game within a game, I really like that. Because the Jiggies were cool because they're puzzle pieces, and like the way it filled in the maps, that was fun. But yeah, it definitely has to be the Jinjos, because they're just like they're so weird. It's like a collectible is like a person. It's strange.
That's strange for sure. Well, Elijah, do you have any closing thoughts on collectibles in video games?
Nah, man, they're great. Like we talked about how like the audio logs and the storytelling stuff. Like it's like there's a different level of collectibles too that I think we'll probably talk about at some point. Like the story focused ones like that, like the stuff that The Last of Us does, because it's weird that story heavy games like Bioshock, like The Last of Us, can have things that are essentially collectibles, but really a little bit more than that in a sense.
Sure. Yeah, where it adds like a deeper layer to the world, where maybe you're looking at things from a different angle, or from a different character's perspective. Collectibles are great. Love these good ones. I'm probably not going to 100% Donkey Kong Country for the sake of my sanity.
Do you want to know something that I found out? Because we were recently talking about like the prices of video games going up and all that. The original Donkey Kong Country 2 was $79 on Super Nintendo. So when we're all like, games are expensive, we need to shut up.
Yeah, I saw that on the internet today as well, and I was very shocked.
I was like, Donkey Kong Country 2, where it's like $79, and then you got Tropical Freeze for like 50, and it's like, I'm not saying it's like 10 times the game, but like graphically and the budget that was put into it, it's just
Definitely
ridiculous. It's so just, yeah,
Ah,
we're gonna be paying
man.
more for games. Yeah. But as always, we are brought to you by Game Pitch on the Project Nerd Network. Check out projectnerd.com for articles and nerdy geeky goodness. You can find us every Wednesday on your podcast app of choice, Apple, Google, Spotify, those places. We live there. You can find Brandon on Twitter at Mr. Snow97. You can find me at Mario RPGino. But as always, thank you for listening to the show. Brandon, take us out.
Thank you for listening. We'll see y'all next week. Bye bye.